and thank you, Madam Gill. We'll now go to Mr. Jans for 6 minutes or less, please.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you all for your testimony, for your deep commitment to addressing this issue and the issues surrounding the impact that's happening on the Fraser River. Maybe I'll start with you, Mr. Witzke, because you're just on a thread that I just wanted to go to. You talked about Indigenous and traditional knowledge and the lack of resources to be able to get that information. I mean, the government constantly cites the importance of Indigenous and local knowledge. Without those resources, do you feel confident that that Indigenous and traditional knowledge is being used in this situation and applied to help resolve this situation?
Frankly, no. There's not enough funds available to provide a full traditional knowledge. We can scrape the top off the butter, but we can't dig in deep with the knife. That's a kind of a funny way of putting it, but yeah, there's seriously not enough funds, and for the amount of resources out there, there should be funds available, the amount of resources extracted. And thank you.
Do you want to add to that, Mr. Harry, Chief Harry? Because I think that this might be something that you might also touch on. You touched about rights and reconciliation, rights and title, the importance of, I think the government hasn't resolved some of the outstanding issues related to rights and title, and the importance of those issues, outstanding issues with the Crown getting resolved so that there is resources to better manage the stocks. I mean, I come from Newchanlath territory, and you're probably very aware of the Newchanlath court case where the government spent $19 million just on lawyers fighting the Newchanlath on rights that we know that they've already established in the Supreme Court of British Columbia. Can you speak about how that's relative in terms of resources here?
Thank you. Thank you. I've also taken part in the Fraser Salmon Management Council meetings, and my community is a delegated representative at the Fraser Salmon Management Council meetings. And as Darren mentioned, whether or not the Fraser Salmon Management is a delegated authority, I wanted to say that there's been a lot of commitment in as far as the 190 First Nations that rely on the Fraser River salmon. At this point, we have about over a third of those signed on to the Fraser Salmon Management Council, and that's a huge success. I would say to have that amount of signatories to that agreement, and that shows the commitment on behalf of the BC First Nations to look to recover the salmon stocks, the Pacific salmon stocks. It's not an easy task to get that many First Nations on board, and it shows that First Nations are fully committed. I'm sure that we'll have more come on board here over into the next little while here. But this conversation that we're having really goes back to the Crown's mandate, and the nice gestures, the nice words that we've been hearing over the past 4 years here with Prime Minister Trudeau around recognition, reconciliation, supporting UNDRIP. When we think about implementing UNDRIP, we think about passing on some of that responsibility that the Crown has held so dear to its heart, and Department of Fisheries and Oceans has held so dear to its heart for so long. If you want to implement the United Nations Declaration, or you want to look to implement some of the court decisions, we have an opportunity with the Fraser Salmon Management Collaborative Agreement. That's the fundamental step that needs to happen for us to be able to properly resource the traditional knowledge, title, and rights discussion. Is that some of the responsibility needs to be passed on to the First Nation, and I think that's probably being debated somewhere in Ottawa at this time as to how to do that. But that's what we want. We want responsibility with regard to First Nation fisheries, or regard to fisheries on the within the Fraser River watershed. I think that those discussions are coming, and we need to take them serious. When I look at that Fraser Salmon Management collaborative arrangement, it is a step towards First Nations taking on more responsibility as far as salmon, and it's a long time coming. So we can look to tools such as that agreement to improve our place with with regard to management of a salmon stock that means so much to our identity as Secwepemc people.
Super.